Hey everyone, welcome back. So today is Thursday. Hope you guys had a great day, obviously. But a lot of stuff has been going on. CPI data has come out. Bitcoin is crashing again a little bit. It's obviously down from its highs. We'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at what's really causing Bitcoin to go down, which we believe it is, the CPI data. And we'll also take a look at some news on Bitcoin. The South Korean government elected a new president that's pro-Bitcoin, so we'll take a look at that as well. And then we'll take a look at, really quick, my stance on Rivian. As you may know, I'm invested in Rivian, so I just want to talk about it, provide you with my thoughts. And as always, not financial advice, do your own research. And I'm invested in the following companies and coins. So let's take a look at the miners here first, and then we'll get into the Bitcoin news, Bitcoin charts, and things like that. So Annie was down today 1.54% to $1.92. A lot of the miners were down, except a couple of them here were actually up on the day. This is Argo. Argo was down 10.11% to 80 cents. Bitfarms was down 4.68% to $3.46. Cleanspark was down 0.89% to $11.09. Cores was actually up today, which is surprising. They were up 8.82% to $8.02. Digihost was down 7.81% to $2.77. DMG was down 4.6% to 49 cents. Hive was down 1.6% to $1.84. Hot was down 4.26% to $5.40. Iris Energy was actually up today. So they've had a couple of days here where they've been up, 4 days it looks like, and they are at $17.78. Marathon was down 3.62% to $24.75. Mawson was actually flat on the day today. And Riot was down 1.96% to $16.51. So most of the guys here are obviously trading like Bitcoin is. Bitcoin's going down, so they're going down. The exception obviously was Core was up and Iris Energy was up as well. So those are the two exceptions to the rule for today. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here. So Bitcoin, we got obviously Bart Simpson haircut happening here within the last 48 hours, and we're down again. So a lot of people are obviously contributing it to the CPI data that came out today, which was rough, 7.9%. So we'll take a look at that as well here in a minute. But right now on the chart, I said yesterday that we may go up a little bit more. We didn't actually go up, but I thought we would go up before we come back down. We actually just went down instead of going up and then down. On the RSI right now on the 1 hour chart, it's not looking good. RSI is up to 37.96, and last time, and you can see here that it was lower, but we were higher on price. So we have a price going down, RSI going up, which isn't a good sign, which I think we're going to be probably testing the 37,500 mark here sooner or later, like we did here on March 7th. We may do that again. We'll see how this obviously plays out. So that's obviously not good for Bitcoin. And let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum, same thing. RSI is higher here, lower here. Prices was higher here, lower here. So we're seeing that trend happening down, and I think we're gonna probably go down a little bit more on both of these things. So it's choppy waters right now in the market, not only in the crypto market, but also in the regular market. So let's take a look at some news here on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin spoofs 40K breakout as US CPI inflation data confirms to 7.9% estimates. So Bitcoin sees competition from commodities after falling to put in lasting gains from the latest US inflation news. And here's obviously the chart on it. So wheat actually gives Bitcoin a run for its money. So data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView showed BTC USD reacting strongly to February's consumer price index readout. Despite matching forecasts at 7.9%, the print saw Bitcoin stage a smaller version of last month's reaction with a breakout above 40,000, following immediately by a trip to 24-hour lows. We can see that obviously in the chart as well. So high inflation numbers are calling for faster hikes and potential QT, quantitative tightening, resulting in a stronger dollar and people selling their risk on assets. That the short-term reaction. Cointelegraph contributor Michael Van de Pope summarized, such high inflation isn't great. Nonetheless, long-term thought. Long-term though, Bitcoin, right, and I agree with that. We're just having these little downtrends and just market conditions that aren't favorable right now. But I think long-term wise, you want to hodl Bitcoin. So continuing on here, the start of Wall Street trading, meanwhile, did not produce any noticeable changes to the short-term status quo. The S&P 500 was down 0.6% at the time of writing, while burgeoning commodity prices of oil and wheat, among others, remain center stage. Wheat is So here's a quote from somebody: "Wheat is everything BTC wanted to be," and more. Popular trader Pentoshi joked. Here's a quote from him: "So a global reserve currency inflation hedge you can trade and carry in your pockets that's lightweight. If you aren't going to your local store right now and going all in on Wheaties, what are you even doing with your life?" So we can see here the wheat futures just exploding. And that is mainly because of what's going on in Ukraine with the Russian invasion. Ukraine supplies a lot of wheat for the world, and so obviously there's concern that that harvest this year is obviously going to be reduced greatly. So that's what's pumping that right there. So let's take a look at the consumer price index. Obviously, it was up 7.9%. The biggest things that drew it, obviously, or had a huge increase on it, was obviously energy. Energy was 25.6% compared to last year. Energy commodities was 37.9%. Gasoline was up 38%. And then fuel oil was up 43.6%. So those are huge. Those are the things that we use every day. We're seeing it in our gas prices, obviously, in our heating oil prices and everything else. So that's a huge percentage of increase that's obviously contributing to less money that we have at the end of the month when we have to pay these bills, fill up our tanks and everything else. So that's a contributing factor, which is also obviously driving stocks down and everything else because people aren't going to have less money to spend. The other thing, obviously, that's very interesting here was new vehicles were up 12.4% over last year. Used cars and trucks were up 41.2%. So that is huge, obviously, as well. So if you have a used truck right now and you can find a deal on a new car, you might be, okay, trade that in or sell it outright. You could possibly make on it, probably even sell it for more than what you bought it for in some instances. So this is obviously contributing to a lot of the price action that's going on in the markets, the downturn, a lot of fears, concerns. And we'll obviously have to see how this plays out going forward into next month. We'll see if the CPI data goes down a little bit or if it's actually going to go above 8. If it goes above 8, that's going to be really, really terrible, unfortunately. So we'll see how this plays out. Let's take a look at the other story here on Bitcoin. So pro-Bitcoin and crypto politician, I'm not going to even try to pronounce his name, Yoon. I'm not going to try the other parts. So was elected to be the next president of South Korea. So Conservative Party member Yoon wins the closest election in South Korean history. The People Power candidate is expected to deregulate Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies markets to strengthen the South Korean economy. South Korea proposed capital gains tax on cryptocurrencies is expected to be raised from 2.5 million Korean wons to 52.4 million Korean wons. So that is a huge change in that. And that's obviously, that's a good, in my opinion, that's a good thing, obviously, for Bitcoin. And we're seeing a lot more politicians get into it where they are supportive of Bitcoin and everything else. We saw it, obviously, with our own president here in the United States doing the executive order basically yesterday. We saw the pump on Bitcoin for that, and obviously the CPI data crushed it today. So South Korea harbors a tumultuous relationship with Bitcoin, and Yoon's election is viewed as a changing tide towards South Korean sentiment. To realize the unlimited potential of virtual asset market, we must overhaul regulations that are far from reality and unreasonable. Yoon said to a virtual forum in Seoul, "We must shift to a negative regulation system to ensure at least the virtual asset market has no worries." So this is obviously great news on that. Excuse me. And this is obviously a trend that I think we're going to continue seeing going forward from other countries and other political candidates as well. I think they're going to obviously get into more crypto and look for it as a way to kind of differentiate themselves from somebody else. So this is great news for me. All right, next is obviously the Rivian stock. So as you know, I am an owner in it, and I have been buying the dips. I bought some more earlier this week at around $45. It's now down to like $38 or something like that, or $33. Let's take a look at it here really quick. Oh, let's see here. Tesla, I think I passed it up. There it is, Rivian. So it's actually at 41.20 right now, which obviously was a lot lower. It was down to about, what was the low on it? $39 or so on it. Yeah, 39. So we'll see how this plays out on it. I may pick up some more if it goes below closer to 35. But my goal is obviously to pick up as much as I can. This is a long-term play. At least for me it is. So I'm not expecting huge changes in everything right now, but for me this is at least a 5-10 year play on it. So I'm going to pick up the shares as I can, and that's just my own doing, so don't follow what I'm doing. I could be completely wrong on this, but I think that they do have the possibility to grow tremendously over the next couple of years. And we'll do a little comparison between Tesla, where they were when they went public, and where Rivian is, just for comparison on that. Okay, so here's the story on them. And unfortunately, all of this, for some reason, got highlighted on me. So the biggest thing, obviously, Rivian reported its fourth quarter and full year 2021 financial results on Thursday after the closing bell. Shares of the EV startup fell as much as 10% immediately following the release. Some analysts were forecasting 40,000 units will be produced this year. Rivian estimates that it will produce around 25,000 vehicles. Here are the results. So $22.43 negative cents versus $2.05 expected, and revenue of $54 million versus $63.9 million expected. In its shareholder letter released on Thursday, Rivian stated, through the first half of Q1 2022, we experienced several headwinds and other factors impacting our production ramp, including a planned 10-day shutdown to fine-tune our production lines, significant supply chain limitations, a large spike in COVID-19 cases likely contributing to the Omicron variant, and severe weather in central Illinois. What was the other part of it here? So like the rest of the industry, we anticipate supply chain challenges to persist through 2022. We are working closely with our suppliers to identify component constraints early so that we can support the supplier ramp and or develop alternative solutions if needed. So this is good. Rivian says as of March 8th, it produced 1,410 vehicles in 2022 and 2,425 vehicles since the start of production. So they started production back in, I think it was November or December of last year. The Irvine, California-based company is pretty profitable and is still in the process of ramping up its production. We know that. So Rivian produced 1,015 vehicles in 2021. And here we go. The EV maker backed by Ford and Amazon recently announced it would raise the price of its R1 and R1S electric pickup trucks due to inflationary pressures. Obviously, we saw that here in the Consumer Price Index, where new vehicles are going up 12.4%, used vehicles 41%. Everything is going up, so that only makes sense. But the way they handled it, obviously, was a little mishap on it. The increase was initially supposed to apply to existing and future orders. After heavy criticism from pre-orders holders, CEO RJ Scaringe apologized and promised Rivian would honor prices for orders already in place and for anyone who had canceled due to the hike. So this is a good thing that they did. They should have done this in the beginning. They should have said any future orders will have this price. Current order holders will have the past price. The price increase highlights the challenges facing automakers amid rising costs for parts and raw materials, which is true. Everything from semiconductors to sheet metal to seats has become more expensive, and with this, we have seen average new vehicle pricing across the U.S. rise more than 30% since 2018, wrote Scaringe in a pricing update statement on March 3rd. And then the cut check of having partner Amazon exercise its right to secure EDVs from alternative vendors from Daimler has shaken investor confidence, wrote Morgan Stanley's auto analyst Adam Jones in January note to investors. So they're supposed to produce 100,000 deliveries by 2023, which is here. So that's still 8 years. That's a lot of vehicles. And I think, obviously, Amazon wants to get more vehicles that are electric. So they have every right to go to somebody else as well. So at the end of 2021, we sold the first production EDV to Amazon, said the company's shareholder letter. It went on to state, as we progress through these significant milestones, we are also in the process of exploring ways to further expand our commercial partnership with Amazon, which is also good as well. So obviously, stock is way down from where it was. I'm buying as I can, just to dollar cost average in, get in some more cheap shares. And here's what I wanted to point out. So Tesla went public, I believe it was in 2010 that they went public. Prior to that, they were obviously a private company. They were making the Roadster, and then they got into making the Model S, and then finally the Model X later on. But let's take a look at the charts here for them. So they were public in 2010. We only have obviously numbers here for 2013, but in 2013 they were only producing 22,442 vehicles, or deliveries were made 22,442, and that's basically almost two and a half years, whatever it was. I can't remember when they went public in 2010. but that's 2 years after the fact that when they went public, they were making 22,000 vehicles. Rivian is expecting to make potentially 25,000 vehicles this year, which I think is a pretty good start for them. And you can see here at Tesla, each year their deliveries grew, their production grew as well. 2014, they were at 31.6 thousand. 2015, 50.5 thousand. 2016, 76.2, and then obviously 2017, they were at 100,000 a year. And you can see that number almost, it doubled here in 2018, up more than, what would that be? Almost a 145% increase. And then you got 2019, another 100% increase or so, roughly, and then 2020 was about 500,000 deliveries. So all of this is a ramp up. You got to obviously get your production up. You got to do vendors and suppliers and everything else. So it's going to take time. So that's why I'm saying this is a good 5-10 year play. But I think it might be a good play. Let me know what you guys think of it. Obviously, I know a lot of you guys aren't in favor of Rivian. I like their company. I like their products that they have. They have interesting products. I'm interested to see what they're going to have down the road on that. I know that they're supposed to be building another plant in Georgia possibly within the next 2-3 years or something like that. That's going to help production as well. So we'll see how this plays out. But right now, I'm just adding in shares when I can, when it dips down below certain points. And then we'll see how it goes going forward. But I think 25,000 for this year is not bad for a company that just went public basically a couple months ago. If they can maintain that and get to that point or exceed it, that's going to be huge, I think. And then they just got to build on top of that going forward. So we'll see. Obviously, the pricing on everything is going up. We'll see how that also affects future orders for the cars, since the price has gone way up on them. And then to see if the demand is still there. But right now, based on the information that we have, that they have problems with production and everything else, that's to be expected. New company, expanding, growing, trying to build out. I'm fine with it, at least for me. Like I said, this is a 5-10 year play for me. And my original goal was to get 100 shares. I'm pretty close to that right now. I may see if I can get maybe to like 500 shares of the company by the time everything is said and done within the next 5 years or so. So let me know what you guys thought of it. This is just kind of my take on it, that I think this is okay. And we'll call it a day. There wasn't any other news as far as the miners went. Nothing happening. Nobody else reporting. We're still waiting on Mawson to report their February numbers from February. Once they do that, then we'll do the miner versus miner video on all the miners to see how they compare to each other. And that will hopefully be out next week sometime. I'm still working on, any Sphere 3D numbers. I'm hoping to have a video for you guys by this weekend, if all goes well. So that's it. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know, obviously, your thoughts on Bitcoin, Rivian, and the CPI numbers. What do you think are going to be the next month numbers? And we'll go from there. So if you guys enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously, and that's all I ask from you guys. Have a wonderful evening. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.